Welcome to Get Ripped Collectibles.
Gator Dave, Gator Dave, Gator Dave. How you doing, sir?
I am well, Miami Mike, and here we are again. Another week, week 7, over the hump now. We'll see how things go. Want to remind everybody, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button after the show or before you jump out of here. And, interact in the chat with us, man. If you're, ladies and gents, if you're out here on the chat this evening, we'd love to hear from you. So, Wednesday night, 7:30, that's our time. More time for those wagers on Thursday and Friday night because, man, they're playing games every day of the week now. Started yesterday and rolling.
Tuesday, baby. We got football on Tuesday, Dave.
Holy hell, Tuesday. You know, don't forget we got the ticker at the bottom of the page that Mike's got rolling down there with the order at which we're picking the games today. So you can kind of, if you jump in and jump out, you'll see where we are as we go through the ticker. Real quick and very quick, we sucked last week. Gator Dave 3-9 and Mike worse. So it was rough. But Gator Dave is up by 1, so but not bragging at all. Yeah. Do you want to put up the ugliness, Mike, real quick? Just give it a quick
it's up
flash.
there. It was up there. It was up there. It was
okay.
ugly.
There it is.
You know when I knew it was going to be all bad, Dave? Was in that Rutgers Wisconsin game. It was 10-0.
Yeah.
Right before the half ended, I had Rutgers +7. Rutgers had the ball in Wisconsin's 5-yard line, about to score a touchdown, and I would have covered.
And
the dude threw a pick 6. 17-0 at the half, Wisconsin, from the 5-yard line. Gone just like that.
So,
Dust in the wind.
Not good.
And then you know the crazy part about that? Rutgers ended up covering at the end of the game. They covered the full game. I don't know if you saw it. Well, you did see that because it was on the recap. But, man,
so,
that's what I knew, Dave.
We're going to take week 6, and we're going to say bye-bye week 6, put it behind us, give it the hex, bye-bye, get away from us. Now we're moving week 7, and it's a new week. It's a new day, and we feel much better about things at this point. The greatest thing is at the end of the show, last 2 games, we get to talk about our own teams for a change.
You know what I was going to say the greatest thing is? It can't get much worse, bud. Can't get much worse than last week. So it's only up from here.
If it gets much worse, we're over. We're shutting her down.
It's only up from here.
Absolutely. So first game we're going to talk about tonight, folks, we have West Virginia at Houston. So West Virginia, kind of the surprise team of the Big 12. They are 4-1, and they're 4-1 against the spread. They got wins over Pitt, Texas Tech, and TCU. No one would have ever thought that at the beginning of the year. Houston, 2-3, 2-3 against the spread. Houston's big win came over UTSA, and they also beat Sam Houston State. Whatever. So, they're the new guys coming in from the other league coming into the Big 12, new team to the Big 12 this year, and they're not faring well at this point. Mountaineers, 67th ranked scoring offense and 25th on defense. So they hold a good defense right now at this point. Houston coming in 88th in scoring offense and 104 in scoring defense. Again, like I said, Mountaineers probably the most surprised team, one of the most surprised teams in all of football, to be honest with you, because the coach was Neil Brown was like, 1 foot out the door, maybe a foot and a half out the door when we started the season.
I didn't think he was going to last this long. We talked about it in the preview. I thought he was going to be out of there by this time. So
absolutely, most thought he would be gone, but he has done a yeoman's job out there and handled the business this year and been successful. I mean, holy moly, 4-1 at this point and beating those teams that were supposed to be much better than them. So I'm impressed with the Mountaineers at this point and what Neil Brown's done. And, man, I can't say anything else but give me the Mountaineers, those 2.5 points, and we're going to call it the first game. Gator Dave lock.
Wow,
Oh.
you got a lock on a Thursday, huh?
We got a lock on Thursday.
All right. Well, I got one here for you. We got a head-to-head here, Dave.
Oh, I
We
love
got a
it, Mike.
head-to-head to start off.
I
All
had
right.
that gut feeling when
Hey,
we were
but it's not a
tackling.
true head-to-head.
Okay,
So
okay.
most points Houston has scored on offense all year this year has been 41. It was against Rice. Their second most, 38, was against Sam Houston. Okay.
Okay.
Other than that, haven't touched 30 points all year in any
And
game.
they're playing the 25th ranked defense in the land. Yeah,
It's going to be a bit of a struggle. On the flip side, West Virginia has only scored over 25 points a game just once. They've only gone over 25 once. Do you know who that was against, Dave?
Ooh, over 25. Gosh, I don't know. Pitt, maybe?
No, sir. The powerhouse that is Duquesne. All right.
Oh,
So
Duke.
they've been in a couple close games lately,
Wow.
and I think
Wow.
this one is going to be another one of those. Give me the under, good sir. Under
Absolutely.
49. Actually, I think it's under 50. Under 50, good sir. Please.
Under 50. Man, I like it. I like it a lot, Mike. I think our first game, Mike, I think we both come out winners here. I really do.
That one might be okay.
I think these are locks. These are the Gator Dave.
Again, based off of last week, make your own decisions. You can fade or follow.
I love it. I love it. Next game, man.
All right, so next game we got Georgia Southern and at James Madison. James Madison is giving up 6 points right now. It's gone up a little bit. I think it started at 3.5 earlier in the week.
Yep.
So both these teams are in the Sun Belt. They're in the same division. They're both coming off a bye. James Madison is currently number 1 in their division. Georgia Southern is number 2. Game separates them. James Madison on defense, they got some hosses up front. They have 23 sacks as a defense. 3 different defensive players have 4 sacks or more in 5 games. That's stupid. In their last 2 games versus Troy and South Alabama, they had 5 sacks as a team in each of those games. Their offensive line has given up only a total of 8 sacks on the year. Flip side, Georgia Southern, for perspective on just how crazy it is that James Madison is getting that many sacks on defense. Their defense only has 8 sacks on the year. Their offensive line has given up 11. Where Georgia Southern kind of makes up for it, though, is on the back end of the defense. They have 8 interceptions. 5 different DBs have a pick. 2 different linebackers have a pick. They're a top 5 team in the country passing the ball. They average over 335 yards passing a game. Quarterback Davis Brin has a 70% completion percentage, 1,600 yards, which is top 5 in the nation, 12 touchdowns, and outside of a 5-interception game to Wisconsin, he's only got 2 in all the other games this year. I think if Georgia Southern is going to find success against this James Madison defense, it's going to be through the air. That's where James Madison struggles because on the ground, they are pretty good. They're actually first in the nation, and they're giving up less than 40 yards a game rushing. Georgia Southern is 8-1 all time versus James Madison. First meeting as FBS foes was last year. James Madison put up over 675 total yards, but lost because they had 4 turnovers. They are salty about that. I watched a couple interviews from the defense and the offense for James Madison. They've been waiting for this game. So I'm going to go James Madison minus the 6. I think that number could actually creep up closer to 7.5 too by game time. So I'd probably try to get it while you can. But I think James Madison is going to have enough on defense to kind of slow them down. I like Georgia Southern too. We've talked about Georgia Southern. We talked about both these teams pretty much all year.
I know.
But this one I got James Madison at home.
All right. Well, I mean, this game, when you threw this on me, I'm like, I love those 2 teams, and what they've done this year.
Solid.
Both very, very successful. one of these two teams going to win that conference, no doubt in my mind. But there's a few things that I'm looking at here, okay, Mike? First of all, Georgia Southern's a little step ahead against the spread. They're 4-1. James Madison's 3-2. You know, the only loss Georgia Southern had was against Wisconsin, and they've kind of come around. And granted, it's a Power 5 against the Group of 5, but they did lose to Wisconsin. Georgia Southern's offense, 35 points a game. Defense giving up 20. James Madison's 33 on points per game, and defense surrendering 23. So it's really so close, right? And I even looked at strength of the schedule. They were like within 2. So it's like, oh my God, flip a coin, right? Then we started looking at the QBs. We got McLeod, JMU, 64%. He's 11-3. 1,150 yards, and like you said, ran 16-11, 70%. And if you pull out those 4 he had, it would only be 3 interceptions to 12 TDs. So here's what it's coming down to, Mike. Okay, the Dukes of James Madison can't go to a bowl game, and I know that's what you deep down. That's why Miami Mike went with the Dukes. Georgia Southern had a bye last week, Mike. They're going to be a step ahead. And once those points got up to 6, I'll be honest with you, that's when I flipped. I was the other way when it was 4.5.
Were you really?
But now that it's 6, give me Eagles and them 6 points.
You know James Madison's coming off a bye also.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Sure about that?
I am.
Yeah. All right. Just double checking.
I am, dude.
So it's tied up in.
That's right. But no, I'm with you. I mean, that was the last game that I was sort of going back and forth on. I mean, it's a toss-up. They could be either way. They really could. So
it can go.
That one was a hard one.
When the points moved, Gator Day moved. So I went to Georgia Southern. So
Gator Day follows the movement.
Here, I'll give the final note. I drove by, headed toward Savannah last week. Drove by Georgia Southern there. So we're gonna make that the extra. Ooh. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Go Dukes.
Let's go. Next up, we're going out west to a couple of other Group of 5 teams. We're going Fresno State at Utah State. A couple of teams that are battling things out. Both have nice records. Fresno State comes in at 5-1, but they're only 2-3 against the spread. They lost last week to Wyoming, who's like the powerhouse out there, the Group of 5 powerhouse team. They're talking about Wyoming might be that one Group of 5 team that ends up in the bowl game.
Their test is this week. They got Air Force. I think it's at Air Force too. Air Force is like a double-digit favorite.
Yeah, and I was staying away from that. Game because
I was looking at it. But if it was at Wyoming, I think we would have been talking about it.
Yeah, but so they lost last week to Wyoming. Wins over Arizona State, Nevada. That's Fresno, right? Utah State, 3-3 against the spread. Big win last week against Colorado State. They beat UConn. They've been quite competitive. Fresno State has 38th ranked offense, 27th ranked defense, while Utah State comes in a little bit better on offense at 11th and 75th on defense. Last year, they scored 78 points in the first game of the year against Idaho State. So that was Utah State. That was a lot of points, and I think that kind of threw things off a little bit. Recent trends for the Aggies have shown high-scoring games with the totals going the over side of things. Okay, in 5 of their last 5 games, Fresno is under in only 2 of their last 6 games. Both QBs are a bit of gunslingers, and the point spread is only 57.5. So Gator Dave's going to take the over in this game, Mike. I know this is a little off the beaten path, but I feel pretty good about this one going over. What say you?
I say that could get shaky. I'll tell you why. So Fresno State has one of the best quarterbacks in the country right now with Mikey Keene. He's a transfer from Central Florida. And I know Gus Malzahn and Central Florida fans are kicking themselves for not keeping him around. But there's a problem. Mikey Keene has an injured ankle, and he was in a walking boot today at practice. And signs are pointing to former starter from last year for a brief period, Logan Fife, is going to be their guy on Friday night. Logan Fife isn't that great. Utah State on the other side, been an absolute roller coaster. We've talked about them multiple times this year, and it's disgusting that we have to talk about them again. I'm sorry. I apologize. This one really, it was ugly. But Utah State has played some decent teams. Their biggest thing for me is they made a quarterback change when they were getting blown out, I believe, by UConn in that game. They were down like 28, 30 points, made the quarterback change, ended up coming back and winning that game by 1. And ever since then, that's when they've been putting up those numbers. So you mentioned, last 2 or 3 games, they've been absolutely putting up numbers. I think they've been averaging like 35 a game. So if Keene was going to go, if Mikey Keene was still healthy and he was going to go for Fresno State, I would be all over Fresno. I would ride it with Keene and Jeff Tedford. But without him, I think it's going to be a big talent drop-off. And if you think back, Dave, to Fresno State in the past, right, when they had Jake Hanner, you remember when he got hurt, like when he was healthy and he was their guy, rolling. As soon as he got hurt, they kind of went immediately downhill, significant drop-off. This was last year. And then Logan Fife was kind of part of that drop-off. So, give me Utah State +5. I feel insane for picking them again. But I'm going to do it. And this line has gone down. It started, I think, at 7 or 7.5. It's down to 5 now because I think more info about Mikey Keene not being able to play is probably going to keep circulating. And then, that number's probably going to keep going down until Friday. So, give me Utah State and the Aggies +5 here, Gator Dave.
All right. Got you down. What's next?
Real quick. Want to do – we'll do it after this game. We'll do it after the 4th game. All right, so we're going to talk Michigan State Rutgers here. Michigan State is at Rutgers. Rutgers is a 5-point favorite. Michigan State is coming off a bye. Both teams rely heavily on the run game for offense. Both teams only allow, 150 yards or less on the ground per game, so something's going to have to give here, needless to say. Michigan State, their pass game and offense overall has struggled this year. They've lost 4 fumbles on the ground. They only got 6 passing touchdowns compared to 7 interceptions as a team. Like I said, they really kind of go as the ground game goes. They have a guy named Nathan Carter. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry on the year. He's got just under 480 yards and 4 touchdowns. This guy's also the team's 4th leading receiver. So that kind of tells you where they're at receiving-wise and even quarterback-wise. It's been a rough year for Michigan State. On the defensive side of the ball, Michigan State has 11 sacks, 4 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble. They have the ability to keep games close if they can limit the explosive plays. They are averaging teams to just under 24 points a game, so it's not all bad on the defensive side, but it's pretty rough. For the home team, Rutgers coming off a heartbreaking loss last week in Madison that we talked about a little bit earlier, which they really honestly should have probably, won. The final score was 24-13. You take away that pick 6 that we were talking about right at the end of the first half. That's a swing of 7 points both ways. That's a win for Rutgers right there, 20-17. So that was a big touchdown in that game. and Rutgers was that right there to beating what a lot of teams have winning the West this year in the Big Ten. So, like I said, I'm just going to give it to you. Yeah, it's Rutgers, baby. It's Rutgers. I'm riding with them again. The fighting Greg Schianos. I think they got it. Last week, their running back, he didn't do a lot, but he's an absolute stud. He's got over 900 yards. Wisconsin kind of held him in check. I think he goes bananas in this one, and I like Rutgers to win at home here, -5. Who do you like here, Dave?
Yeah, I like that. I like that call, Mike. I really do. So, Michigan State 2-2-1 against the spread. Rutgers 5-0-1 against the spread. So I kind of see where you're going there with that. Michigan State did beat Shark Humper up at Central Michigan. They lost big at Washington, Maryland. They gave Iowa a bit of a game, but Rutgers been strong. Beat Northwestern, Virginia Tech, Temple. They did lose to Michigan and Wisconsin, but it's a different league, right? The quarterbacks are can't hit the broadside of a barn. So Michigan State's quarterback Kim is 56%. He has thrown for 1,090 yards, 6-6. 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Not too hot. Winsat 51% for Rutgers, 914 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So kind of wonky on the quarterback side of things. So better hope for the rushing game there, which you did address there, Mike. So Rutgers does have 13th ranked defense, which is pretty damn good. And Rutgers is averaging 28 points a game, and Michigan State 21 points a game. So, when I look at that, 49 points on the averages, and I look this over and under, and I'm like 39. I know they suck, both teams, but it's not Iowa, It's not the Iowa offense. So I'm going to take the over in this one, Mike. I think it's pretty safe at 59.5. So I'm going to take the over.
I like it. I mean, I think Rutgers could get 30 by themselves in this one. So I think it's a good call.
Yeah. Hey, let's shout out. We got Ian Gleason on the line. We got Hindu on the line and Evelyn Johnson on the line. Looking for that. That commercial break. So glad to see you guys. And Ian, you got to hang around for the Miami real quick. It's not going to happen real quick. It's the last game. So you got to stay on the line there, Ian Gleason. So, all right. I think I got the next game there, Mike.
Yep, go for it. Let's do it.
We've got Troy and Army, and I had to take this game because I know you love Army. So I had to grab this game. So we got Troy at -4. Troy comes in at 4-2, 2-4 against the spread. Not too hot. Troy has wins over Georgia State and Western Kentucky, which to me are pretty competitive teams. Army comes in at 2-3, 2-1 against the spread. They have their win over UTSA, who's not all that like it was last year, and the fabulous Delaware State. Troy's got the 43rd ranked offense, 71st on defense. Army comes in at 57th on offense and 54 in defense. Last week, Troy was against Arkansas State. Troy was up 20-0 going in the second half, ended up winning 37-3. Bedell had a great game, 245 yards rushing against the fabulous Arkansas State team up there.
Monster.
3 scores off the 28 carries. Gunnar Watson added 236 yards with a score. So pretty impressive game there. I think this game stays close, but I'm packing Troy all the way here to beat the Black Knights and setting you up for a loss here, Mike. So I'm going to go Troy at -4 points. So tell us why Army's going to win.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about Troy first. How about that? Troy is playing their best football right now, so it makes sense why you take Troy in this one. Like you said, that running back is an absolute monster. Um, Coming off a home, Army's coming off a home loss against Boston College last week. They gave up 300 rushing yards on the ground. I don't know if you watched that, Dave, but it was nasty. Nasty weather the entire game, cold, wet, from start to finish, and Army got outplayed, which is not something you would see in that environment, you would think, right? Ultimately, I was really kind of torn here between the under and Troy. As much as I love supporting the Black Knights, I had to go with the mind on this one. Yeah, so I'm going Troy with you. They're still hot in the division, have a shot at their conference. Their next two games are really important, and it probably decides their season. So I think they get past Army here, who's an independent, not in their conference. Get to those next two and kind of put the pressure on a little bit for that conference championship. All right,
buddy.
Real quick, Gator Dave, just want to say for everybody watching, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Jump in the chat, drop a comment below. Really helps us out with the algorithm, and that's the best way to show some love. We also want to show some love real quick. We have a new sponsorship. It's shopcya.com. Shopcya.com. Go into a game. This is straight off the top right here. Hey, go into a game. Cover your assets. You need a clear plastic bag. See, they need to give me a script, Dave. This is their fault. We blame them for this right now, okay?
No. Gotta
so
have
you
that
gotta,
to go into
so
the
look,
college football game.
You got a clear plastic bag. You have to have it for when you walk into stadiums. This is a cover. It's designed to snap on and snap off so you can get your stuff through security. They can check it, make sure it's good. And then you got total privacy after you go through and you're in the stadium or the concert or the venue or wherever. ShopCya.com is the website link. We got Gator Dave colors here, right here.
Oh, yeah.
We got some Miami Hurricane colors right here.
Oh, yeah, we do.
There is all sorts of teams on there, all sorts of designs. I picked out the tie-dye ones because I'm sure you can assume why. I like tie-dye. We'll leave it at that.
They're cool.
They do look cool. They have a bunch of other designs for a bunch of other teams. Notre Dame, Alabama, LSU, Georgia Southern, like we were talking about, all over the place. Check them out, shopcya.com. We'll give them another shout out here later in the show as well. But shout out to our new sponsor, shopcya.com.
It's
CYA
awesome.
accessories.
Awesome. You gotta have the clear bag going into any venue nowadays, and then you flip the cover on, and boom, it's like a regular bag. Pretty freaking awesome.
Boom.
Pretty freaking awesome. Nice. ShopCya.com. Check it out.
All right.
All right,
So
Mike,
next game we got here is Kansas at Oklahoma State. I'm not going to get too far into this one. I'm going to give you a couple key bullet points here because it's just trust it. All right, just trust it. Kansas is back in the top 25, and they're facing an Oklahoma State team that they beat by 21 last year. Kansas has the better quarterbacks. Kansas has the better running backs. Kansas has the better defense. Give me the 5-1 Jayhawks to go into Stillwater, get it done, go 6-1, become bowl eligible before their bye week next week, setting up a massive matchup in 2 weeks against undefeated Oklahoma. All right, which is big Big 12 implications right there for Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, among others. So that's my prediction. I got Jayhawks -3 here, Dave. Who you got?
Hey, you make me feel a lot better about my pick now, Mike. I mean, geez, that's good. That's good stuff. So Kansas comes in 3-3 against spread. Oklahoma State 2-3 against spread. Kansas big wins over UCF, BYU, the newbies of Big 12.
Big win is an understatement.
Oklahoma State did beat KSU, Kansas State, last week, but Kansas State looked like dog shit. I think it was 3 interceptions, something like that. So it was it was that one-off game that a good team has every once in a while, right? So, Devin Neal, running back for the Jayhawks, smoking 593 yards rushing. This is a rushing team, and they're doing all this without their quarterback, Jalen Daniels. Wait till he gets back. He gets back by the time that Oklahoma game.
I would argue, though, that Jason Bean, the backup, he might be better. I mean, he's a better passer. I think Daniels is the better runner. I think Daniels is the better runner, but Bean can he launched that thing.
Yep. Pokes lost their best receiver last week to injury, dribbling, so that makes things worse. Last week looked promising for Oklahoma State with the win against Kansas State. The Jayhawks, they've got a chance to solidify their position in the Big 12 right now, which is a contender, right? I mean, they might be that one step down right now, but they are so damn close. And I think this is so close to a Gator Day block, it's not even funny. So give me Kansas and those 3 points. I think this one's easy money, folks.
I'm with you.
All right, another game. This one's definitely, I'll tell you right now, take it to the bank.
Oh man, but this is I know where you're gonna go with this just because you just said that, and this one scares me because this has October college football written all over it, Dave.
Okay. All right, so let me lay it out for you, Mike. So we got Louisville at Pitt. Pitt, garbage can. Louisville 6-0, 3-1-1 against spread. Cards had a huge win over Notre Dame last week. They've beaten NC State. They've beaten Boston College. Whatever. Pitt comes in 1-4 against the spread. Not just 1-4, but 1-4 against the spread. Virginia Tech. They lost to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech sucks. They've only beaten Wofford, Mike. Okay, the Cards come in 21st best offense,
like that, man.
22nd best defense. Pitt 51, 51st in points, 67th on defense. Cardinals took care of Notre Dame last week. Jeff Brom is my guy. Remember last year, freaking Public House, buddy, Public House 400, Jeff Brom comes in.
You're not going to ever let him live that down. That's the funniest thing.
I am not. So Jordan leads the offense, that rushing attack, 21 carries, 143 yards last week. Jake Plummer connected on 17 of 24, 145 against the Irish. They've got a tough defense. They're not playing around. Granted, it is at Pitt. My God. Oh, my God. I know what you're saying, Mike. You're saying this is going to be one of those games like who were we talking about earlier that had
setup, Dave. It's a setup.
Last week? We were talking about Kansas State had a bad game. So you're saying this is Louisville's Kansas State game. Not going to happen, buddy. It's only 7.5 points. These guys are going to win by 10 or more. Book it. Dude. Gator Dave, lock. I'll take those 7.5 points. Boom. Your turn.
Your turn. So this one is ugly. I don't know why you put it on here. You're confident about it, so I get it. But man, good God. It's terrible, dude. All right, so there was talk initially this week. I don't know if you saw this about Pitt starting quarterback Phil Jerkovich swapping positions to go to play tight end.
Maybe he can play center, Mike. Can he play center?
He's a big boy.
Jerkovich, whatever.
He's a big boy. So he's not going to do that. They canceled the plan. So I guess it took 1 or 2 practices and him catching the ball or trying to block, and they said you're better as a backup, buddy. So he is the backup for this game. He is not starting. Louisville is one of those teams that we talked about earlier in the year, and I was super high on. If you watch the preview show again, I think I had them at 8 or 9 wins this year competing in the ACC, and they're right on track for it. But man, did they start slow. They almost lost to Georgia Tech in week 1. They had a couple other games where they kind of struggled, but these last 3 games, like you mentioned, I mean, they've got it going now. Their running game is absolutely lethal. They got a couple guys that can tote it. I think this one could actually get pretty ugly if Louisville can get on them early. So I'm going to go with you here. I'd hate it. I don't like it. I'm going to go Cardinals -7, but this is one that I'm telling you, it has setup written all over it. It has Pat Narduzzi.
I know.
Pat Narduzzi at 1-3 at home, dude, and Louisville is riding high. I'm telling you, it's
not his year.
Sketchy.
Not his year. Don't
Dude.
be thinking about Mike. Don't be thinking about November 18th when you think about this game. November 18th is when you guys play the Cardinals. That's all right. No, we'll move on.
I'm not worried about Louisville. Not worried about Louisville.
All right, buddy. All right, that's great. So, I think you're making a good choice here, Mike. I think it's nice and safe. I think I
bet you do
totally
think that.
agree with you here.
All right. So next game, we're going
Nasty.
Big Ten football here, brother. Nasty game. Iowa at Wisconsin. 10-point favorite for Wisconsin in this one because Wisconsin's defense is legit. Their offensive line has struggled a little bit in this year so far. The passing game's given up 8 sacks. Quarterback Tanner Mordecai has struggled to say the least. He's only got 3 touchdowns with 3 interceptions, averaging just over 200 passing yards a game. Needless to say, Wisconsin's switch to the air raid offense has not been great, not been completely successful. And if they didn't have a guy named Braylon Allen as their running back, I have no idea where they would be this year. That dude is an absolute monster, and he's the heart and soul of that offense. He's averaging just under 100 yards on a game. He's got 7 touchdowns on just over 70 carries. Absolute beast. Absolute baller. He's pretty much the reason. Them in the defense is pretty much the reason they're in playoff contention still. Iowa's offensive line has really kind of struggled a little bit, especially with Cade McNamara being out for the season, and they've made the switch to backup. And guess who that backup is, Gator Dave? Deacon Hill, the 6'3", 258-pound unit at quarterback for Iowa. He's also a transfer from Wisconsin. So this is a revenge game for the unit. The unit, unfortunately, is not great at the quarterback position. The unit might want to play fullback or linebacker or tight end, kicker. Give something else a shot, unit, because quarterback is not it, my guy. 43% completion percentage. He's got 1 touchdown, 2 total turnovers. Offense is not doing much with him behind the role. Get this stat, Gator Dave. Last week versus Purdue, the unit did not complete a single pass to not one of his wide receivers in that game. The entire game did not complete one pass. So, having said that, we're going to talk about the Wisconsin defense a little bit because the unit's going to run into some problems. Wisconsin's got 2 linebackers named Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson. Together, they have a combined 97 tackles on the year already through 6 games. Monsters. They have 5 interceptions as a team, but ironically enough, usually interceptions and pressure go hand in hand. They only have 3 sacks as a defense, which I thought was surprising and interesting there. Look, as good as Iowa's defense has been, I think Braylon Allen is able to have some success at some point in that game, probably the second half. I'm going to take the under here. I'm going to bank on the defenses. I'm going to bank on this being a running the game, running the clock type of situation. It is super low. I think it's 36. Yeah, it's 36 is the total, so it's low.
I got 34 and a half.
Well, there you go. So grab it while you can. It's obviously going down. So yeah, give me the under there. What say you here, Dave?
I think that's a good call, Mike. I think there's no question about it. I think it's just this is just a battle of.
That's crazy that dropped just in that time. What was an hour difference? It dropped 2 points. That's wild.
Yeah, I'm looking like BetMGM and FanDuel both 34.5. So it's
going to be ugly. I'm not going to watch it. That's going to be a 10-7 game. Watch.
Yeah, yeah. 10-7. Think what you said. So, and then we'll
Or
go
13
where
to
I'm
7,
going.
something like
So,
that.
Battle of the Big Ten West, right? So, in reality, this is going to probably tell us who's going to win that tough division of the Big Ten West. Iowa comes in 3-2-1 against the spread. Wisconsin's 2-3. Neither one of them showing very well. We've already talked about. I mean, that whole Big Ten West is just total hot garbage. Iowa's got wins over Purdue, Michigan State, and Iowa State, and lost to Penn State, which is not that bad. Wisconsin wins over Purdue, Rutgers, Georgia Southern. Um, we got two pretty good defenses here. Iowa's was ranked 16th. Wisconsin's ranked 26th. Thus, Miami Mike's bet of the under in this particular game. And you remember what he said, 10-7. My gut tells me Wisconsin wins this game, but I don't think they can win by 10 points. So give me them 10 points in Iowa right now. I'm going to take that right now, thinking they might slip up and score too many points. So
I
that's
mean,
where
hey,
where
you know what I could see is 10-7 win for Wisconsin, and Iowa gets it through a defensive pick six or a fumble recovery for a touchdoall. I mean, I could totally see it.
Easy.
So I like the pick.
Easy. I like both our picks here again. So
take us to prime time here, brother.
Here we go. The big boys. We've got USC Notre Dame, a classic matchup here. Oh, what a game. So, USC comes in undefeated at 6-0, but they're only 2-4 against the spread, Mike. That's what we're doing. We're betting, right? We're betting. We're not just picking winners. So
there you go, Dave.
Wins over Arizona last week and wins over Colorado and ASU. Notre Dame comes in at 5-2, struggling a bit. They've been out there against your ACC, Mike, and they've had some problems. And they got beat by Louisville.
ACC's a tough conference, dude.
But they did beat Duke, who I think Duke's a pretty damn good team. They lost to Ohio State at the Horseshoe in the last seconds. So USC comes in number one ranked offense, okay? 58 on defense. Notre Dame 91st on offense, but 12th on defense. We know USC is going to score in this game no matter what. I don't think they can be stopped. I think Caleb Williams is just going to roll. The analytics show Fighting Irish in this one projecting that they've got like a 61% chance of winning this game to defeat USC. I think that's a little much in my opinion, but I don't believe it. Sam Howell's had a rough couple of games. The last couple of games, it was horrible against the Cardinals.
Yep.
Mike, I honestly think that the defense is just flounder a bit. And I think this one turns into a shootout because we know USC is going to shoot. They're going to run and gun. They're going to shoot.
That's not PC, Dave. That's not
PC.
Gonna score. Find a different word, all right?
What, shoot? What did the shoot word?
Yeah, dude. Come on.
Oh,
have some respect.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This is YouTube run right here, all right?
They're gonna score a lot of points.
Jeez.
USC is going to score a lot of points because we know Caleb Williams is going to throw it up. They're not going to play a lot of defense. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to be the Sam Howell, Caleb Williams show. Bada bing, bada boom, and 60.5 points. Give me the over, Mike. Give me the over in this game, Mike.
Yeah.
This is over.
I mean, I tell you what, this is a game that Notre Dame has to win. I can tell you that if they want any shot at any potential playoff spot at all. I mean, the crazy part about it, Dave, where they are in the rankings right now, I mean, they win this game. They're top 15, and they have it's an outside shot, but if there's a couple upsets and a couple teams lose ahead of them, they could slip down and get into that Final Four, which is the craziest part about it at 2 losses right now. Obviously, this one would be a big test. Number one offense in the nation, USC, like you mentioned, averaging over 50 points a game. That's ridiculous. The problem is their defense, like you said, and they've had a lot of close games that they really shouldn't have had. So I am going to go the over here with you as well. I think USC is able to put up 30 on this Irish defense. The Irish defense is good. Make no jokes about it. If anybody's going to have a great chance at slowing down USC, it's going to be Notre Dame. I think Sam Hartman is able to get going back in his swing. The problem was you looked at their first 3 games of the year. Irish didn't really play too many. They didn't really play nobody. They played Navy, I think Tennessee State, and like Central Michigan were their first 3 games. And then they got into their kind of serious schedule. They played some good defenses, like you mentioned, Duke, Ohio State, Louisville. Louisville, they should have won last week. That was just Sam Hartman's error. 5 interceptions, I think it was, or 5 turnovers as a team. They had 2 two fumbles, 3 picks.
And fumbled. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to win a game like that. It's just not going to happen. But, I mean, they were still at a point where they could have won that game. So I think Notre Dame competes in this one. I think they know what's at stake. I think they know that this is one that they have to have. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it. I don't know if their offense is ultimately going to have enough. If they were, I mean, USC's defense is atrocious. All right, so if they're going to have any bounce back for confidence, I'm telling you, this is the one for Notre Dame. They're favored for a reason when they're the lower ranked and they have 2 losses to USC's 0. So I'm just saying, don't count Notre Dame out, but I'm with you. Give me the over 59 here, Dave.
Yep. All right. Over 59. Quote it there, Mikey. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. What do you got next there, Mike?
All right, real quick, while we have some more people, I want to drop it in. We talked about it earlier, but we have a new sponsor here, Dave. I'm going to see if I do it a little bit better this time. ShopCYA.com, baby. Make sure to check it out. If you are going to stadiums, concerts, venues, bar mitzvahs, weddings, wherever you may need a clear bag, check this out, Dave. Boom. You take it off. I can take off the full thing just to give you an idea of what it looks like. There's your clear bag for women or men. It's 2023. We don't judge. Do what you do. But if you're taking it and you need a bag, boom, you got it. It just snaps back on. It's a beautiful thing. Patent pending. Don't steal their stuff. It's really rude of you. Hold on. Boom. You are safety, you are protected, so you can go through security, get your stuff scanned, snap it back on when you get in the venue, you're good to go. Your stuff's protected all the way around, privacy protected. ShopCYA.com. Check it out today. Let them know you saw it with us. You don't have to, you can. We don't get anything for it, but it'd be cool if you did. All right, ShopCYA.com.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And very stylish bags. And Mike, if you could show the bag that Gator Dave likes, the colors. It comes in different colors.
It does. I can do that for you. I can do that.
ShopCYA.com. They'll see.
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely.
They got the Bama stuff. And give me this color. Give me the colors. Show me the colors there, Mike. Yeah, we got them Gator colors too, just like we got the Miami Hurricane colors. I know. Don't go there. But, yep. So, ShopCYA.com. Very cool.
Bam.
Very cool.
Get yours today. Right. Cover your assets. All right. Hey, I think that was good. That was much better than the first time. We need to clip that. Send it off.
Flip it and go, baby.
Send it to the world. All right, sir. So next game we're talking here. We're getting down to the wire. What do we got? We got 3 left. We're talking Oregon at Washington. Washington is the 3-point favorite. College Game Day, the site of College Game Day this week out in beautiful PNW, Seattle. It's going to be a gorgeous, gorgeous event. I look forward to seeing it and wishing that I was there on Saturday. A lot of similarities here between these two teams, Dave. Both teams coming off a bye. Both teams are undefeated. Both teams, top 10. Both teams have top 5 offenses. Both teams' offensive lines have given up only 3 sacks to start the season. Both teams are leaving the Pac-12 for the Big Ten, like everybody knows, and that's about it as far as similarity goes. All right, so as a defense, Oregon is averaging over 3 sacks a game. They are getting after the quarterback, dude. They're getting after it. On the opposite side, you got Washington, who has just 6 sacks as a defense on the entire year, but they do have 8 interceptions, which is twice as many as Oregon's defense. Oregon only has 4. It sounds good, right? Until you look at how efficient Oregon has been on offense. Bo Nix is throwing over 80% completion percentage on the year. He's got 15 touchdowns, only 1 turnover. In fact, as a team, that interception that he threw versus Colorado, that's the only turnover they've had all year as a team. Their ground game is deep. They got 3 different guys that can get over 7 yards a carry. And between the 3, they have 13 rushing touchdowns on the year. I think Washington could struggle here on defense unless they're able to create some turnovers through the passing game, which is going to be tough with Bo Nix throwing it the way that he is right now. What I will say is a positive for Washington. They are the number 1 team in the nation in passing offense. They're getting over 445 a game. And for total yardage, they're getting 570. It's unheard of. If anybody's going to keep up with Oregon in this one, the Huskies definitely have a shot. But, unfortunately, they're pretty one-dimensional. They can really only pass the ball. They cannot run it. Michael Penix, the quarterback, he is not mobile, believe it or not. He does not like to run the ball. He can chuck that thing. He's got 2,000 passing yards, number 1 in the nation in passing yards. He's got 9 rushing yards. He doesn't like to run the ball. Between Penix and Nix, these quarterbacks is probably one of the best matchups we're going to see all year. Penix in his own right, he's got 74% completion percentage. Like I said, 2,000 yards passed, 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So he's right there with Nix. I mean, he's balling. He's at the top of a lot of people's Heisman list. The problem is for Oregon, or for Washington, Oregon's only given up 155 through the air right now. So something's going to have to give in this one as well. Give me the Ducks here, Gator Dave. The Ducks +3. I'm rocking with them. I think that they're able to get the run game going. I think their defense is able to make some plays and get after Penix because he has that lack of mobility. Give me Oregon +3. I know Lee Corso is going to be with me as well, so I got the power of Corso by my side. Oregon Ducks +3. Who you got here, Dave?
You can always count on that one, Mike. So
that's right, dude.
Mike, you think this, judging off of the statistics that you just rolled out, you would say it's a fairly close game, but you think that, what do you think the score is based off of the statistics that you have delivered up to this point? 7 points. At least 3, right? They're going to win by at least 3, if not 7, right?
Who?
You're saying the Ducks.
Oh, I just need the Ducks to cover by, they just need to get within 2, and I'm Gucci. But, yeah, I do think they will win. I think they win this one.
It's going to be close. 3 points,
yeah,
7.
Yeah. I think like 30. I want to say like 38-34. 38-34 Ducks.
All right. Good. Based off of the stats that you've delivered to us. All right.
Yes.
So let's look at this a minute. So, Mike, both teams undefeated. Oregon 5-0 against spread. Washington's only 3-2. Biggest wins for Oregon at this point, Colorado. Okay. Washington's signature win against 4-1 Arizona. I think it's a little bit better. So they've been somewhat battle tested. But they haven't played Washington State, neither one. They haven't played Oregon State, neither one. They haven't played UCLA. They haven't played USC. So they haven't played the –
That's the one team – USC is the one team out of all of them that's going to give them a play.
They haven't played those other
contest.
Teams, right?
Yeah.
Ducks offense ranked number 2 based off of who they play. The Ducks defense ranked number 5 based off of who they play.
Mm-hmm.
The Huskies ranked number 3 on offense, and you allude to that. They're very similar offense, but the Huskies' defense is only 26th. Mike, key here to my decision.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the nugget that you overlooked. The average opponent ranking, when you take all the rankings of who these two teams play, the Huskies, 41st. The Ducks, 104. Give me the Huskies and them 3 points to cover there, Mike. That's where Gator Day's going.
Right on. I like it.
All right. Next up, here we go. We're coming to the home stretch. Evelyn, Kelly, Linda, Devontae. Who else we got? We got Public House, Hindu, Ian. Oh, we're coming in. We're going to talk about our own teams, and here we go. So, and I'm going to start with the Florida at South Carolina game. South Carolina is at -2.5 points. So Florida comes in at 4-2. They're only 2-4 against the spread. South Carolina 2-3, 3-2 against the spread. Florida's only real big win was against Tennessee at our place. Pretty happy about that one.
It's a big win.
But then we just kind of milked it away in the second half. Then we came into Kentucky and got our butt kicked because some guy wanted to rush for 300 yards.
That darn guy.
And let me tell you, so when I looked at the Vandy game,
it was ugly. Did you vomit?
It was somewhat ugly. We won. We beat the spread, right? We scored more points over that team than Kentucky did and others. But there are some things that happened during that game after I watched the film study that alludes to the fact that maybe Mr. Napier, our coach, has made some slight changes in the offense that Gator Dave is going to keep his fingers crossed on. We'll leave it at that. Gamecocks beat Furman and Mississippi State, Mike. Ooh, yeah. Neither offense is ranked in the top 50 when we talk about these two teams. USC's averaging 28.75 points a game, and the Gators at 27.17. So pretty close there in that regard. The Gator defense ranked 19th in the nation. The Gamecocks, Mike, 107. Now, let's look at the quarterbacks. Mr. Spencer Rattler coming in ranked 32 in passing efficiency with 1,411 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Graham Mertz, who I dogged from the very beginning of the year, he's ranked 20th.
You've been as
dogged him.
Big. No, stop it.
At the beginning of the year, I dogged him.
Oh,
I said we were in trouble. He's done okay. He's been a game manager, one of those old Alabama game managers. He's ranked 20th in passing efficiency compared to the Rattler 32nd. He's got 1,474 yards. He is 9-2. Ertz is better than South Carolina's Rattler. Ooh. But Mertz is not throwing the ball down the field. Problema. If we don't throw the ball down the field successfully, it'll be a problem. South Carolina, guess what? They had a bye week last week. You know, Mike, that South Carolina, we play South Carolina this week. Mm-hmm. They had a bye previous to our game. We play Georgia next. They'll have a bye, but we will too. We play Arkansas next, and they're going to have a bye prior to us too. So we kind of got jacked on the schedule, but we're here to play football, baby. So this is a must-win for South Carolina, coming in right now at what are they, 2-3? I mean, if they don't win this game, they're not going to a bowl. They're walking down the road because their schedule is pretty rough. Now, Gamecocks, special teams. We got Beamer ball, right? So we know Shane's dad was the king of special teams at Virginia Tech, and Beamer don't play. So that worries me quite a bit because our special teams sucks. We are bad on special teams, and that hurts in a close game, Mike, which scares me a little bit in this situation. And I think that could be the key factor. The only thing that I can say is if Napier opens up the offense and we throw the ball down the field, we got a chance. But if I'm betting my money, Mike, unfortunately, I might take South Carolina to cover 2.5. In reality. Until Napier can show me he can win on the road, I can't put my money on him. What say you, sir?
That's fair. I'm actually going to go the opposite way here. I'm going to go Florida plus 2.5. But I'm really banking on ETN playing. If he doesn't go, I think you guys are going to struggle. Because like you said,
he's going, dude. He's going.
So he's going to go?
All right,
good. All right, cool. Yeah, so I like Florida in this. Florida's defense is good. As shitty as their offense has been, their defense is legit. The thing that I don't like about Florida's defense is they've only actually gotten one takeaway this year, so they really struggle to get some turnovers.
Let me tell you something, Mike. I don't like interrupting you too often, but the one thing that's different about last year and this year's defense, because I want to hone in on what you're saying there. It's important. Their defense look good. They don't have the turnovers, but they're keeping their gaps and they're staying where they're supposed to be staying and going where instead of running around like chickens with their heads cut off, not keeping gap control, and that might allude to the fact that we don't have the sacks, we don't have the turnovers, right. But they're staying in line, they're making the tackles, and they're staying in their lane. So I'm sorry.
They're playing conservative like they are on offense.
They are.
I mean, and that works against teams, like a Vanderbilt or, there's other powerhouses that you've played so far this year. But I think this game's a little different. If any game they're going to snap back from, I think this is a perfect opportunity. South Carolina's pretty one-dimensional. They've had some running backs go down with injury earlier in the year, so that's really kind of taken the wind out of their sails at that position. It's put a lot on Rattler, and he's performed. He's got 73% completion still. He's cooking. But that offensive line is a little shaky, and they've had some injuries up front. I think Florida is going to pin their ears back a little bit in this one. I kind of want them, I want to see them get after the quarterback, make some plays, maybe force, like what we said earlier, pressure on the quarterback goes hand in hand with causing turnovers, interceptions of that sort. Rattler will throw the ball up if pressure is in his face. Give me Florida plus 2.5. I think they have a good shot at taking that one from South Carolina.
Appreciate that, sir. Mike.
Hey, man. I'm not rooting for y'all, but got to go with the brain, right?
I'm with you. All right. Next up, let's do this. Last game.
Yeah, last game. All right, so we're going to talk Miami against North Carolina. Yeah, we're going to talk Miami at North Carolina here. North Carolina's favored by 3.5. All I'm going to say is don't sleep on my Canes here in this one, Dave. North Carolina's defense has had some shaky tendencies, to say the least, this year. I think Miami's going to be able to find some offense or success on offense, or has a shot to anyway. The key in this one is going to be stopping North Carolina's passing game. Obviously, Drake May, probably a future first-round pick. He's top 10 in the nation right now in passing. Their offense is also top 10 right now. He's got them humming. They're averaging over 200 yards a game on... No, I'm sorry. That's the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are averaging over 200 yards a game on the ground. The Tar Heels are not, but they are slinging it through the air. I did not like what I saw last week. I'm sure you'll bring it up, but I'm not going to talk about that part of the play. I'm going to talk about our OC doing exactly what I've seen at Miami for a long time, which is conservative plays, scared to make mistakes. That's ultimately why we lost that game last week. It wasn't because of what happened in the last minute of the game. Tyler Van Dyke threw 3 interceptions. Our coordinator was calling it real conservative. Our offensive line wasn't getting the push up front. Running game wasn't getting going. I think this is a perfect opportunity for them to get back on track with this. It's a night game at North Carolina. Everybody in the world is talking shit about Miami and how stupid they are and how they just, they are this, they are that. I think it's locker room bulletin board fuel. And I think, honestly, it's an absolute great test to see if what Mario Cristobal has been preaching all off season and for the last 2 years since he's been there is that the culture is going to change. The culture has changed. This is the test. Is that game are we going to lose twice because of one game? Or are they going to shake that off, come back, play in this one like they can? Because ultimately, all of their goals are still ahead of them. ACC championship is still ahead. We play Clemson. We play Florida State. We have North Carolina this week. They have their road still to the ACC championship game, but they got to win. And they got to put what happened last week behind them. I think that they have that ability. God, I hope they have that ability. Give me the Canes plus 3.5 on Saturday, and I have full faith in Mario Cristobal. What happened last week has not wavered me at all. Shit happens. It was a dumb decision. It is what it is. We move on, but that's my key. They have to move on. They can't linger on it. They got to put it in the bag and wrap it up. So, give me the Canes plus 3.5.
Yeah,
but it's ugly.
I'll be honest with you, Mike. That what happened will have nothing freaking to do with this next game. Zero, zip, don't care. It has nothing. It was a decision that was made that wasn't right. One decision, so it has nothing to do and no bearing on this game at all. Okay, so I have nothing in this. So Miami comes in 3-2 against the spread. Big win over Texas State. What it is. North Carolina, however, comes in 4-1 against the spread. Wins over South Carolina, Minnesota, Pitt, Syracuse. Okay, keep that in mind. Canes defense. Let's look at where their offense and defense rank. Off of their schedules, Canes come in 13th in scoring offense, 12th in scoring defense.
Don't do that.
Not as good. 18th in offense, 30th in defense. However, when you look at the strength of schedule, okay, Carolina comes in. I've got 2 numbers here. If I average them, it's like their strength of schedule is around 17th. Okay, Miami's strength of schedule is around 65th. So, you can't really say you can't compare the numbers to numbers. I go back to that other deal. When your schedule's not as good, you're not gonna put up the numbers like you would. Okay, I honestly believe that the way Carolina's playing right now, who they played, who they beat, and who the Canes have played and who they beaten, I think North Carolina can cover these 3.5 points just based off of that at this particular time. And knowing that the games at, Carolina helps tremendously. And when we look at the game here in this particular situation. So I'm going to take the Tar Heels here, and I feel pretty good about it. I mean, I wish it was 2.5. I wish it was 2.5 and not 3.5. So that way I got that 3. But basically they're going to have to win by touchdown. That's the way the cookie crumbles, brother.
I do want to point something out about what you just brought up. Not to interrupt. No, I'm just playing. So out of North Carolina's 5 wins so far this year, right? You brought up strength of schedule and by the schedule. 4 of those 5 have 3 losses already through week 6. Just saying.
But if you go back and look at the losses for the teams that the Canes played, it would probably be even worse than that, right? Because of strength of schedule.
I don't know. Let's see. Miami of Ohio, week 1, they have 1 loss. They're 5-1. Texas A&M, week 2, they are 4-2. We're not going to talk about Bethune-Cookman. Temple, we're not going to talk about Temple. Georgia Tech, no, I'm just playing.
But
hey,
15,
but I'm just
15 and 60. I mean,
I'm not the one.
I know,
the one that brought it up. I was just saying. All right, I'm just saying that strength of schedule is a little subjective. All right, a little subjective.
Power 5, Group of 5, even lower divisions that you're speaking of, Mike. So we're talking about pure strength of schedule.
That's fair.
That's fair.
I mean, it's going to be that's a tough place to play.
60.
It's a tough place to play, especially at night. And they don't like us, so it's not going to be. It's going to be chilly.
It makes it easier to make a decision when it's only 3.5.
It's going to be a long. Hey, it's going to be a long Saturday. That's all I'm going to say. Getting to that point, it's going to be a long Saturday.
When is this game?
That's a night game, dude.
Okay.
Yep. All right, real quick, and then we got Clemson next week at home, night game also. Yeah. That's a tough back-to-back.
You guys, I mean, I'm dying that freaking Ian Gleason probably jumped off with his little woozy-ass schedule, jumping off here, Florida State. Don't play North Carolina. Don't play freaking Louisville. I mean, what the hell, man?
But they play us, so. And I'm telling you that right now. If we beat Florida State, it's all good. Screw Georgia Tech, dude.
I totally
it's all good.
agree. I'll be all over.
If we keep Florida State out of the ACC championship or out of the playoff, it'll all be worth it. So it's all good.
It will be.
It's all good. Real quick to everybody that's watching. Yeah, look at that, dude. Real quick to everybody watching, please like and subscribe. Drop a comment below as well. Give us a shout out there. It really helps us out. Thank everybody for watching. We got week 7 here in the books. We're on the home stretch here, Dave.
Yep. You're going to flip that thing up there so we kind of see where we're.
Yep, so we got our recap there.
But yeah, absolutely. Everybody, please subscribe. Please like. We're at Rock 103 on subscription, so we want to pump that up. Let's try to get up to 110 by next week, and hopefully we'll go from there. So what are we looking at here, Mike? How many games are we off on? They're all there in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4.
We're on 4 together, and we're kind of clashing a little bit on 8. So there's a chance for movement here, Dave. There's a chance for movement. That medal might be gone from your page over there. So
that's right. I have that my prize up there at the top. So
you do. We need a good bounce back week too. We need a good bounce back.
Something's got to change, but I think we've got some good. We've got some interesting bets where one of us is picking the over/under, the other's picking the winner of the game, and I'm feeling pretty good about all those right now. So, but don't forget what we got up here. So, all right,
yeah, whatever.
Well, folks, we appreciate everyone watching. We appreciate the chat in the chat. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. And go Gators!
Go Canes, baby. Go Canes. Bounce back. Please. Please bounce back.
See you, Mike.